All right, folks, we're going to switch gears now a little bit. Joining us, Mark Simone, WOR radio host, Joe Concha, columnist for The Messenger, Fox News contributor, and author of Come On Man. It's a pretty good book. How's that book selling, Joe? Good?
Oh, we made, several bestseller lists, and can't be more happy considering that this was my first book. I'm a sprinter, Larry. I could do about 1,000 words for a column. 65,000 words wasn't in my DNA, but
Books
hey,
are so
it all
bad.
worked out. Wall Street Journal bestseller.
I've written a couple, man. It's just such a pain in the neck to sell a book. All right, fellas, I want to quote Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, talking to his donors. He says, quote, "You have basically three people at this point that are credible in the whole thing. Biden, Trump, and me. Two have a chance to get elected president. Biden and me. Based on all the data in the swing states, which is not great for the former president and probably insurmountable because people aren't going to change their view of him." Okay, now, Mark Simone, I'm not smart enough to know the future. Here's what I know in the present. The Harvard-Harris poll, which is a very reputable polling, it's run by Mark Penn, Democratic pollster. Trump 47, Biden 40. Okay, that's one. Then you can switch Biden 42, DeSantis 42, okay? And then finally, with the Republican primaries, Trump 58, DeSantis 16, Vivek Ramaswamy at 4, Pence 4, Nikki Haley at 4. So I think Mr. DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, smart guy, strong candidate, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, he's got the worst timing in the world. He's a young guy. He's 42. Wait 4 years. He needs a lot more seasoning with foreign policy stuff. He's not good on that. He's been a good governor, but he doesn't have the campaign skills, not a great debater. And right now, nobody wants Robin when they can have Batman. We don't need him right now. I know the donors love him, but the donors always get it wrong. They love Jeb Bush. They love Mitt Romney. And they say he's Trump without the drama. He's got plenty of drama, but without the humor and fun of Donald Trump.
You know, Joe Concha, I know there's disagreements about all this, and I think there's probably disagreements in this panel, and I respect that 100%. But I just want to say this, Joe, and you may not like this either, but to me, whatever one thinks of DeSantis, Trump, the Durham report totally exonerates Trump. That was a big thing. And I think these other judicial issues, Alvin Bragg and the classified boxes and all. Joe, I think after the Durham report, I just don't know if anybody's going to pay any attention to all that other stuff. I'm not saying that gives Trump a free pass on everything, but I am saying it sure lightens the burden. And DeSantis got to realize that.
Larry, this is where Trump becomes so difficult to beat. I'm in agreement with you and Mark on this, because some voters will say that he is the only one who is running who could truly take on this deep state after it tried and failed so many times to take him down. And it's just as amazing as it is predictable that so many in the media are downplaying the Durham report by somehow defending the Russian probe to this day, somehow still saying that it should have gone on. And this is why trust in media is in the sewer, because it's not about journalism anymore, but political activism. And Trump will use this as much as possible to say, see, I'm the only guy who could fix what is truly the problem in Washington, which is the weaponization, as you just talked to Marsha Blackburn about, of the DOJ and the FBI.
Yeah, no, it's powerful stuff. Now, Mark Simone, this is interesting. We're going to have about 350 candidates in the Republican primary. We have, all right, DeSantis is going to throw his hat in the ring next week. I tried to get Mike Pence last night on the show to throw his hat in the ring. He's stalling, but he's going to run. You got Trump, Haley, Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy, Larry Elder, Tim Scott's just today. You got Governor DeSantis. You got Mike Pence. Now we got, wait a second, Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia. I don't know if Glenn's going to run. And Chris Christie of Washington Bridge shutdown fame. So, Mark, it seems to me, not unlike 2016, this helps Trump, doesn't it? running against all these
absolutely.
people? Yeah, I mean, talk to me about that.
They totally split up the non-Trump vote 10 different ways. Chris Christie, I think, will be in a real battle with Nikki Haley for last place. Christie, he was a governor. That was 7, 8 years ago he was governor. He's done nothing in between except comment on a Sunday show. I don't know what experience he's running on.
No, he shut down the George Washington Bridge in order to get retribution for the mayor of Leonia, New Jersey. Where's Leonia, New Jersey? Hang on. I actually know where it is, but I'm just saying, how silly is that? Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, he's way past his prime. He didn't win back then. He's not going to win now. I think Joe would agree. I don't think he can even carry his home state of New Jersey. So what's the point?
No. Joe, give me a dark horse. I mean, look, I think DeSantis will mount a strong campaign, okay? I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a very talented governor. He has a good track record. But to come back to your point, Joe, and we're speculating, we're playing horse race here, but this business of Durham and exoneration and the FBI and the Justice Department and the CIA, you know, I think, honestly, former President Trump, people see him as a tough fighter, and this whole Washington story has to be changed. I mean, Marsha Blackburn said it right. We not only need house cleaning in the FBI, Joe, we need house cleaning in the whole bloody D.C. swamp. Now, if Mr. DeSantis can make a case for himself, okay. But I think Trump, he's the guy. He's the fighter, usually.
Sure. It's hard to paint Ron DeSantis, though, as the establishment guy, right? Because he's run Florida on his own terms, and that's why his approval's at 60%. It's why he won in Democratic counties like Miami-Dade and Palm Beach. And I think, Larry, this race for the nomination won't truly be decided until Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump meet on stage. And that will be an uphill battle for Ron DeSantis. And here's why. Not only will Trump come hard after him on that stage, that is if Trump debates. He says at this point his lead is insurmountable, therefore he isn't inclined to debate, which I don't think is going to reflect well on the former president if he goes down that road. This is a nomination, not a coronation. But if Trump is up there, and I can't see him resisting ultimately, he'll hit DeSantis on experience, to your point, particularly on taking on China, his foreign policy experience. But then the governor will be a target for Nikki Haley and Tim Scott and Vivek Ramaswamy and Chris Christie and Mike Pence and whoever else is up there looking to take DeSantis down so they can get into second place get near Trump. So that's a tough road for DeSantis. But if he runs on his record in Florida, Larry, lowest unemployment rate of any major state in the country, crime at a 50-year low, more people going to his state than any other, wins on the educational front, it's a compelling argument. And if Trump goes too far, by the way, with the name calling, and DeSantis looks like the one who has the gravitas, then it's game on, Larry.
No, it's fair. I mean, these points of view are very important. I would say this is going to be an FBI election. It's going to be a Justice Department, but it's also, gentlemen, going to be a pocketbook election. The likelihood is we're heading into recession with continued sticky inflation. It's going to be a pocket. So we want to hear what Mr. Trump's position is. We want to hear what Governor DeSantis' position is. And let the games begin. Mark Simone, you throwing your hat into the ring? I've never seen you in a hat, actually.
No, and let me just remind you, we had the same argument about of Scott Walker versus Trump, about Kasich versus Trump. He wipes them out in the first debate, and they're gone.
Yeah, was Kasich going after the mayor of Leonia? I don't actually remember that. Anyway.
No, but he had a lot of DeSantis in him, rough around the edges.
Good bagels in Leonia, Larry. Just saying, great bagels.
I got nothing against Leonia. I thought the mayor was a nice guy. I wouldn't have closed the George Washington Bridge. Mark Simone and Joe Concha, you guys are fabulous.